Hello, my name is Matt Robin and I am your neighbor.
I'm Gladys Gonzalez and I'm your neighbor.
Hi, this is Paul Nickerson. I'm your neighbor.
My name is T.K. Perez and I am your neighbor.
Today we visit with critically acclaimed author William Brashler, who shares his philosophy on writing, rehabbing, and Mike Royko.
We know Bill from a lot of different arenas. I mean, let's just start from the present and go backwards. Bill was our contractor, and everybody I know is contractor in the neighborhood. He's rehabbed houses, basements, bathrooms, anything, you name it, he's done it. But then I found out what a smart guy Bill is when he's in there chit-chatting with us. Realized he's written quite a few books, one even made into a major motion picture with Richard Pryor. And how many total books were published?
Well, I've published 14 in all in my career so far.
Okay.
But I also published in every major magazine from Esquire, Playboy, Newsweek on down. And then I was a columnist for the Chicago Tribune magazine, for Chicago magazine, for the New York, for the Sun Times. So that's what I did for 30 years, from 9 to 5. I wrote, jumped out of the gate with a first book that hit the lottery. The Bingo Long Traveling All-Stars and Motor Kings, which I started writing at the Writers' Workshop at the University of Iowa. Came here to Chicago, finished it, and it was bought, sold, Book of the Month Club, bestseller, and bought by the movies and made into a movie 3 years later.
And why the topic of baseball? I see a big sports theme on a lot of your books.
I was a big jock. I went to the University of Iowa, the Writers' Workshop, which is places people like John Irving and
Ellen Hildebrand,
etc.
Dave Eggers,
Exactly. We were all there together, and that's where I started writing this book about Negro Leagues, because there was a fellow there by the name of William Fox, a South Carolina writer, fabulous guy, and he had written about Negro League baseball players such as Satchel Paige, and said, Brashler, you write well about sports, you got to write about these guys.
And then fill in the gaps from 30 years plus.
I was a little burned out and stopped, but I had always, as a writer, rehabbed. I had always done manual labor. Writing makes no sense. Makes no sense whatsoever. Construction, rehabbing does. You have a level, you have tools, you have plumb, you have flush. It's tangible. And I really liked it, and my phone rang off the hook with people who wanted work done.
What makes more money? Contracting or book publishing? If you really had to put
exactly.
Because it's hard,
It's not the money. It's not the money, it's the gratification. I found that it's very fascinating. Writing is insular, it's solitary, and sometimes it's just not only debilitating, but it's very, very, for lack of a better word, lonely. Bill Brashler, the loner who needs people.
God, what a great description.
I like that.
That is top notch.
By Rick Cogan. When you fix somebody's garbage disposal, they want to kiss you on the lips.
Right.
That's a very good point.
Enormous gratification of fixing things that people, and then they pay you immediately. With writing, you never know if you're going to get paid. But you see, I'm spoiled because my first one was the big book. Yeah, I wrote about crime. I wrote about the mafia. I wrote about, I wrote mysteries. I wrote a lot of different things. I did a lot of magazine work. A lot of magazine work. I interviewed athletes and criminals and just about everything, and I like that, you see. I liked it when Esquire magazine asked me to do an article on the black Muslims, that type of thing. Yeah. And that made me then go in different directions. I wrote a book about traders in the pits.
Okay, so I have to ask a question.
All right.
How different is it now, writing, than it was when your first book came out so many years ago, as far as motivation and all the life experience that you've had?
Night and day. Absolutely night and day. When you're young and you start out writing, you don't realize what's been done. You realize, you think nothing's ever been done. Nobody's ever written about love. Nobody's ever written about hate. Nobody's ever written, so you just write, you see. When the older you get, the more you read and the more you say, oh geez, you get jealous. My God, I could never write as well as that particular piece. And you start turning on what I call the watchman at the gates. They basically say, don't do that because somebody else has done it better.
Did you feel intrusive or out of place when you were writing about the black athletes at that time?
No, I felt a sense of awe and wonder.
Okay.
Because they were so different than me. and it was a great thing. I was so curious. I first ran into black athletes when I was in high school. And in Grand Rapids, Michigan, there was a semi-professional basketball team, and I volunteered, and I did statistics, and I just did anything they wanted so I could meet these guys. Mm-hmm. I was awed by them. When I wrote Bingo Long and sent it to my agent, I only talked with her on the phone. She never met me. She sold it to the editor at Harper & Row. He had never met me. So they had a conversation, which my agent told me, and the topic was this: what color is it? So the book came out without my picture on it. Every writer who came to Chicago was absolutely intimidated and inspired by Mike Royko. I came to Chicago and worked for the Lerner newspapers, which was a neighborhood news, and I was a crime reporter. Loved it. But Mike Royko had a leg man, a guy that did all of his work, and if you were Mike Royko's leg man, then you got hired by first the Chicago Daily News, then the Tribune, then the Sun-Times, and the Tribune. And so I got the word opening for a leg man. I went down, interviewed with him, brought my stuff, right? And he read it, and the next day he didn't hire me. Later, I was asked by Esquire magazine 20 years later to do an article on Mike Royko, right? So I come to Mike, and I say, Mike, how are you? Shook hands. First question, why didn't you hire me? He says, I'll tell you why I didn't hire you. You showed me your stuff. It was terrific. I never hire anybody who writes better than I do.
I knew you were going to say that.
Secondly, he said, I knew you were working on a book about Negro League Baseball. I knew it was going to be a hit. I knew it was going to be sold to the movies. I knew you were going to be rich. He says, face it, kid, I made you.
So, can I ask one final question?
Certainly.
What are you writing about now?
I'll tell you. John Wayne Gacy.
Ooh.
Wow. Why?
I think he had help.
Ooh. Really?
Help's still around?
That's all I'll tell you. Help's still around. I am Bill Brashler, and I am your neighbor.
Next time on I Am Your Neighbor, we'll hang with former Playboy centerfold, actress, Chicago Tribune columnist, and Candid Candace TV creator Candace Jordan, who shows us what following your passion truly looks like.